Hello, family, and welcome to AHAYAH'S Word. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and hit the notification bell to know when a new video has been uploaded. Today's topic, Turn to AHAYAH, Part 1. How do you know if you're in the beast system? The beast system. AHAYAH'S Word describes the end-time world kingdom as a dreadful and terrifying beast, as it is in Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. The beast system has been activated throughout the world since the events at Babel, Genesis 11, chapter 11, verse 1 to 9. The beast system plot is to bring humanity into a hive mind mentality through spiritual rituals, killings, technology, and mental programming. In other words, by any means necessary. The powers to be, or the elites, has been and is used in politics and government, religion, business, entertainment, law, medical, educational, with no moral compass, sense of truth, or righteousness. In other words, they don't care. That's their agenda, like I said, by any means necessary. By learning how to spot it, you can avoid being part of it and make better spiritual decisions, not only for you, but also for your family. Like it says in Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2. Thus says AHAYAH, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Heathen is a person, people, or nations that do not acknowledge or respect the AHAYAH of Jerusalem in the Bible, nor do they walk in the ways according to his word, which is truth. Of or relating to heathens, their religion, their custom, pagan. Pagan and spiritual rituals. Here's some of them, just to give you a gist. Butterfly release ceremonies. Butterfly release are symbolic rituals celebrating change, similar to helium balloons. So if you see people releasing butterflies or doves or balloons, that's the butterfly release ceremonies. Moon rituals. New moon ceremonies have to do with creation, manifestation, birth, or rebirth. The full moon completes. The walking labyrinth. The labyrinth is a meditative pathway which, according to history, has pagan roots. Light a candle. Many of them, paleoromantics, already love burning candles in their homes, offering to their gods. Polytheism. That's worshiping many gods when we only have one Most High. Offering to ancestors, the same thing, offering to their gods. Rise to greet the sun. Sun worship. If you are an early riser like they are, this should be a simple one. But let me tell you a little bit about them. Spiritually, they're there to enslave you with all their rituals that they do. And how you know? Because it manifests physically when you do not try to stop them. It would make their work very easy for them. Just to name a few, and everything isn't always as it seems. Let's read it. Let me tell you what it says in Ecclesiastes 9, chapter 9, verse 5, where they said about worshiping your ancestors. For the living know that they shall die. As we all do. We know we're going to die someday. But the dead know not anything. Neither have they any more a reward, for the memory of them is forgotten. And what this says is that we all, as living beings, we know we're going to die. We know our body is going to, a spirit just going to leave the body. Our body is just going to fall to the ground. That means when the part of our spiritual being has left the body, that means that dead body knows nothing, has no memory of what it did prior to dying. So who are you worshiping when you are worshiping your ancestors? And they know who they're worshiping. They just don't want you to know. Let's read Psalms chapter 115, verse 17. The dead praise not Ahayah, neither any that go down into silence. When you dead, you're silent. Your body doesn't speak, doesn't say anything. You can also read Isaiah chapter 8, verse 19 to 22. In other words, when the dead don't know anything and somebody that looks like you're dead come to you in your spirit or while you're dreaming, trust me, it is not their ancestors. So now here we go. We're going to go into law, politics, government, religion, education, business, entertainment, and food and medicine. We're going to go over each one of these, sometime collectively, sometime individually, but how we're going to do it, we know one thing. The people that do these spiritual rituals and killings and technology and mental programming only want to control you through these means and any other means they feel necessary. So let's go. Law, government, and politics. Government control. Through politics, the government uses power to control you. As a matter, it is the government with policies and laws put in place to have a great deal of influence over other sections as well as theirs. The government exerts its control over the population in a number of ways. One of the ways the government applies its control is by convincing people what they are doing is to protect you. The people thereby keeping you, the people, ignorant. The government makes sure you, the people, are ignorant by openly solves problems they themselves had secretly created. Any government with total control is worth being feared and being very living mind and having groups of individuals who go against their government, who choose not to say whatever man says is right, but what the Ahayah says is right. With complete control, the government is capable of committing acts against their citizens, even their own laws. I know I don't have that in there, but I'm just letting you know, which can't be perceived as something good from the government point of view. A planned economy is an economic system in which the government controls and regulates production, distribution, and prices, just to name a few. Whereas a command economy necessarily has substantial public ownership of industry while also having this type of regulation. In other words, yes, you need law to keep you law-abiding citizens, but the laws is what's the problem. Most common uses of the term civil rulers are leaders of a dominant religion. Byzantine emperor as patron and defender of the official church. The government proclaimed its rules on behalf of God or a higher power. They try to do where they say, we are doing this on the behalf of Ahayah, knowing full well that is not it. As specific by the local religion and with divine approval of the government, institutions, and laws. They have you think they're doing what's best for you, but they are not. So let's put it to test. Man's government, law, and politics versus the Most High AHAYAH, Torah. In other words, a corrupted doctrine versus a sound doctrine. When you read in the Word, you read the Father's laws, statutes, judgments, and holy days. They're never done away with, nor do they change, though people go in the book and change them. But one thing you always know when you know the truth, you know the Father has your best interests at heart. He does what's best for his people. Not only people that he inherit, but the people that choose to believe in his ways. The government, on the other hand, has laws, statute of limitation, judgment, and holidays. They've constantly been added, taken away, amended. Why? Because when it looks like it's going to benefit the people, they have to change them. Why? because they do what's best for the governing body and their agendas. If you're not part of the elite, they're not trying to do what's best for you. They're trying to do what's best for themselves. Let's start with another section. Drugs and food. With drugs, we know since the day that you are born to the day in your adulthood, you're constantly getting vaccinations. They constantly tell you, oh, we want to help you with this, and so you don't get that. Anything from chicken pox to flus and everything else in between. All we knew all our lives that every time you turn around, doctor said, oh, you need a vaccine for this. You need to get vaccinated for that. They don't tell you about the side effects. You're not told about the side effects until you find that some child or adult are suffering from such symptoms like autism, cancer, asthma, leukemia, fatigue, headaches, nausea, fever, mild rash, just to name a few. You see the rest of them listed right here in front of you. They won't tell you of such things, but they leave those out because they want to keep pumping vaccines. And they spiritually get you embedded and thinking it's so important that a lot of us are still going out there doing the trials for the COVID-19 vaccine. You don't know what they're putting in your body. You just assume because that's what they tell you. Food. FDA. The Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. This is the Whole Food Drug Administration. They're in charge of food, drugs, and cosmetics. Anything that is to alter your way of life. The food they use is processed food, modified food. The processed food is what the United States Food, Drug, and the Cosmetic Act, Section 201, Chapter 2, define processed food as any food other than raw agricultural commodity and includes any raw agricultural commodity that has been subjected to processing, such as canning, cooking, freezing, dehydrating, or milling. Milling is like a grinding process. Problem with processed food in consuming processed food, consider whether the benefits outweigh the potential negative effects of food additives such as sweeteners, salts, artificial flavors, and coloring. Factory-created unhealthy fats and chemical preservatives. Too much sodium can lead to serious consequences such as high blood pressure. I know, because when I stop eating it, my pressure no longer be as affected. Processed foods also often contain excessive amounts of sweeteners, fats, and salts. These enhancers may encourage you to eat greater quantities. So now you got people that also have all these health problems, but now you got obesity on top of it. They strip away a valuable nutrients such as fiber, healthy fats, and antitoxins, which are substances found in foods that can help prevent what? Diseases. Now, the problem with modified foods that are already causing problems. They create superbugs, superweeds. The good thing about designing a plant with an insecticide gene, it is to eliminate a lot of unwanted bugs. But bugs are not only supposed to be a certain size and do certain things. Certain bugs that are also killing are the ones they need to help our plants grow. Just because they're unwanted to be around us. But what you do, they know is some of these bugs do help our plants pollinate. And it not only eliminate the unwanted bugs that are not necessary, but they're also killing the ones that we need. They kill the bees and the butterflies. One advertised benefit of GM food is that they are pests, weed killer resistant, which supposedly leads to a greater crop yields, so they say. People don't understand. You need these bees and butterflies. And sometimes when you plant these seeds to grow and you need them to pollinate, in other words, that's how plants have, intimacy. They need that in order to grow because you got male and female. Also, farmers can't harvest these seeds. So if you can't reharvest these seeds, what is the point in having seeds? That's the point where the Father said, when we have all the plants and food have seeds, you can also take the seeds out and replant them to continue to harvest more food. Cross-pollination could contaminate it. Why? Regular crops. So no matter how diligent a small organic farmer is using natural growing methods, he cannot stop pollen from a GMO farm from blowing in fertilizer and turning its crop into hybrids. That means he can start off saying, okay, an orange or a pepper can look a certain size. But when he puts it with the GMOs or modified foods, seeds, then they come really big. Too big than what they're supposed to look like. And that's unnatural. To them, it's illegal to accidentally grow a GM plant. It seems like you need it has a basic flaw of how GM crops are governed. See? Governed. That means the government has their hand. For one, they are illegal to own unless they buy them directly from an approved distributor every season. But on the other hand, the seeds and the pollen for these plants are flying around everywhere. That means when you put something that's modified with something that's organic, they just blend in with each other. And they have no natural way of growth. When you take an apple off the apple tree, you're supposed to be able to take that seed, put it back, and let it continue to grow. I mean, I don't know exactly how all of them are supposed to grow, but I know it's supposed to be a natural process. Now you increase suicide rates for farming because they're always gambling. They're taking chances in a place where they are dependent on the monsoon season to provide enough water for their plants, for their crops. And when it fails, there go their livelihood. And for that reason, that has become so economically challenged for them that the suicide rate, even among Indian farmers, are staggering, about 1,000 per month. These people are so worried about how to grow their crops that they literally are freaking out. And if they get so desperate to make matters worse, they will borrow money from the government to get these magic seeds, they call them. And then they got to keep, gambling, hopefully with twice the amount of water they got to use. And they got to constantly keep at it all the time. And hopefully they get enough crops to not only feed their family, but sell it to feed other families. Otherwise, it don't work. Most time, the government has little oversight. And the sad thing is, the superbugs created by Roundup Ready plants may have been avoided if these farmers were required to adhere safety farming practices. How would they know? Because, however, a lack of training and resources and enforcement means many farmers don't follow the refuge technique, and superbugs continue to proliferate, which means they continue to rapidly multiply. It's like you can't not get rid of them. So it's like a revolving door between the government and biotech workers, because as much as people are protesting and shouting out the dangers of these foods, their response to scientific studies, oh, but it's safe. It's safe. Now, it admittedly hard to make sense of an endless contradictory information, but there's at least one fact that should raise an eyebrow even to the most neutral party. The former attorney and vice president of this Monsanto, Michael Taylor, is now the deputy commissioner at the United States Food and Drug Administration. Here you are, you're doing the pesticides and you have doing with agriculture, but now you are a deputy commissioner. There is no equality there. Taylor has also held position in the USDA and is often criticized for being the revolving door in public and private sector. What do you think? Because he's not going to downgrade or come after his own people, because then he will stop his own business. So he's in a position as the FDA officer to say, you know what? It's okay. It's safe. He will not tell people that his own products are dangerous. The revolving door. So you're always left going round in circles. The harm of biodiversity is that it refers to the variety of life forms in a particular region or on Earth as a whole. Maintaining the biodiversity is important since every living thing plays a pivotal role in the cycle of life we currently enjoy. For now. So how can we reserve that life cycle of life if we put everything in danger? It distracts from healthy, environmentally friendly technology. In other words, what naturally comes natural to these plants that feeds us. One of the main strategies preventing the world food crisis, as they say, and being the solution for hungry people in Africa and everywhere else. However, this sure hasn't exactly panned out since GM crops yields a highly viable and many countries simply don't want to eat designed food in the laboratory. Can you blame them when you know all our lives that food was supposed to be on a farm? You don't want something out of no laboratory. That alone sounds strange. So this is how they do things. The Food and Drug Administration works together. How do they? Sick and from modified and processed food. And when you get sick from the modified and processed food that you eat, what do you first thing you do? When you know everything you did at home fails, then what? Of course, you go to the doctor. And then what the doctor do after he finished examining you and everything? Of course, prescribe medicine for the rest of your life. This is why FDA are bedfellows. Prevention is better than cure. Work to stop something to happen is easy and is better than having to resolve it later. Unless you want to be violently ill for days, and prevention is better than cure. Look at the medicine side effects. Now you have one vaccine right here. It's called pneumococcal vaccine. It's a vaccine that can give you pneumonia, cause death, even ear infection. And death alone should scare you. You can get so many different diseases and side effects, and that's what all medicines give you. All of them. If you take something natural like curcumin, you have no side effects. But you get the cure for the very same problems. Your best bet is to realize that drug is a sorcery. It's a sort of witchcraft. And it says it right in here in the Father's Word. That's right. That's why they call pharmakia. Pharmakia is a straw concordance. The use of medicine, drugs, or spells. The origin pharmakia is a Greek word pharmaka. Literally means drugs and appear 5 times in the New Testament. Galatians 5:20, Revelation 9:20-21, 18:23-24. Sorry, those are the chapters in the verses. Chapter 21 verse 8 and chapter 22 verse 15. In English, Bible is considered witchcraft or sorcery. We also get the English word pharmacy from that very word. So I look at it like this. You go to the pharmacy, you get your sorcery and your potions, and the doctors and nurses are your witches and warlocks/wizards. And how do you know that? It's because when the government is controlling the hospitals, this is why the hospital and doctor consider universal do not resuscitate orders for coronavirus patients as the government gives them the okay. And that was since March 2020. So what about this oath, Hippocratic oath to do no harm? That just flew out the window because it doesn't even matter. And let me tell you how further they will go. Look at these masks. It says here right on the side of the box, will not provide any protection against coronavirus COVID-19 or any other viruses or contaminants. That means that mask don't work. Even if you got the N95 over here on the right. Say it does protect and the N95 protect. Just say it does. I'm not sure. I never had one. All masks, I cannot breathe. So all the while we are inhaling our own carbon dioxide, killing ourselves through carbon dioxide poisoning, we're depleting our oxygen intake because we're not inhaling what is naturally in the air, thereby weakening our own immune system. So how could we want to be healthier when they got us in fear of something that none of us will probably get? Most of us won't even get. Now also, check this out how you're also endangering your life. Which one are you when you wear your mask? Are you an animal or you a robber? With the mask, there is no difference or distinction between either one or a law-abiding citizen. So when somebody comes to rob you blind and take all your money or whatever it is they take from you, what are you going to tell the police? Oh, the robber was, you can tell the color of their skin. You can even tell how tall they are. Maybe. They ain't running fast. But the one thing I know you will tell them, oh, he was wearing a mask. She was wearing a mask. Guess what? Aren't you wearing one too? So what's the difference? There is no difference. Because the mask, you cannot tell the difference. So man's medicine and food versus AHAYAH'S. Sorcery and poisoning versus good health done naturally. AHAYAH is the true healer. But there are times he will give his chosen people the gift of healing, where they will touch you, and his power in them would automatically heal you. There are also herbs, various herbs that you can grow in your own garden that is good for your body. Thereby, you will never be sick in the first place. Food that are naturally grown is good for one's body always. So read and look in Leviticus 11 at AHAYAH'S dietary laws. Because man, or doctors and nurses and medicine, are only trying to hurt you and kill you. The foods that have been grown in the soil are being chemically tampered with, as I already told you. And now they're being manufactured in controlled areas like factories. Don't nobody want no factory-grown food. All our lives, we always known that our food is what helped us get us through the day. We know how it was grown, always. Now they want to change how it's done. Next, business and entertainment. Historically, corporations were created by a chapter granted by the government. Today, corporations are usually registered with the state, province, or national government and regulated by the laws enacted by the government. Registration is the main prerequisite to the corporation assumption to limited liability. Sure, you pay the money and you ain't got to be liable for whatever, a lot of things you ain't did to your customers. Federal Communication Commission. The Federal Communication Commission is the independent agency of the United States government that regulates communication by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable across the United States. The FCC maintains jurisdiction over the areas of broadband access, fair competition, radio frequency use, media responsibility, public safety, and homeland security. This is why they use this. So when people go on YouTube like myself or any other social media, they regulate according to their laws because they don't want to hear the truth. Or they don't want you to know it either. Department of Education. Government control learning from the highest level to the lowest level. They control what you or your family learn. They train and instruct teachers to teach distorted truth, which is lies, in order to intellectually dumb you down from your childhood all the way to adulthood that can last you the rest of your life. Religion. The government treats religion/church as a non-profit business and register as such in order to get taxes under Internal Revenue Code, IRC, Section 501c3. And we all know that taxes and paper that you get for you churches is even a form of entertainment where the people teach, or should I say your pastor preach, the feel-good, good time gospel that teaches you lies. So when you get out of your church service, you feel like, oh, okay. But you really didn't learn anything. Man's entertainment, business entertainment, education, religion versus AHAYAH'S. Lies and immoral learning versus the truth. Man's word is an agreement, and AHAYAH will hold you to it. Numbers chapter 30 verse 2 and Deuteronomy chapter 23 verses 21 and 23. Reap what you sow, like in Proverbs 22, 8 and 9. He that soweth iniquity reaps vanity, and the rod of his anger shall fail. He that hath a bountiful eye shall be blessed, for he giveth of his bread to the poor. Equality in business. Read Acts chapter 19 verses 24 and 25. Praise AHAYAH is the one way we all feel good, for he has been good to us. It's an entertainment with benefits. Psalms 103 verses 1 and 2. Our daily bread and understanding of AHAYAH'S word is our education. It is not a religion. AHAYAH feeds your mind, body, and your spirit. Reads Matthew chapter 6, verse 11. Also read 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 43. This is what AHAYAH tells you about religion, because he knows the truth about it. Man's word is no longer good enough, according to man's law. It's no longer to the point where they now need a written agreement. There is no equality between business owners as well as owners and their workers, even in the entertainment industry. Education dumb you down in your mind. Food education dumb you down in your body. And religion dumb you down in your spirit. Now, when you look at all these ways in which the government is controlling how you learn, eat, and so forth, I know somewhere in there is a treason in there, or any other law that you can think of in the Constitution that is against what they are doing. The thing is, you business owners, as well as the people who patron at these businesses, need to stand up for your right. Find out that they do away with the Constitution altogether. Bring them caught with treason. See what you find out, because they have no problem doing away with their laws. They will have no problem taking full control, even if they have to put FEMA in there. It won't even matter, because here is the beast system, and it's not complete, but it's becoming complete. Your best bet, turn to AHAYAH, so you can learn to unlearn the lies, to relearn and know the truth in order to stop conforming to their wickedness. Knowledge makes people humble. Arrogance makes people ignorant. If you want to be powerful, educate yourself. And my brothers and sisters, black people, you must begin to self-educate. There is a difference in knowing what you know and what you have been told. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who can learn to unlearn and to relearn. And that's how you know the truth from a lie, because the Father give it to you in discernment. You will know if somebody's lying to you, or the situation, which situation you're in, is not worth your time, and it's a danger to you. Recommendations. There is other YouTube channels that are spreading the truth, like Open Diary, Thoughts Camera Action, Big Judah, Truth Unveiled 777. It's just a few. I will try to leave any information I have to give you, or whatever the case may be. I'll leave it in the description box. It's not a problem. But most importantly, let the Holy Spirit lead you. You do not want to be left out of the kingdom of the Most High. You do not want to go before the Father and have nothing that you have done and did all you can after He did all for you. So pray without ceasing. Don't stop seeking Him. Don't stop trying to get to know Him. He wants you to get to know Him. And that, family, I say, shalom.